So crunchy. Burgers, tacos, salads, late night snacks. Snacks any time of the day. Crunchy fried onions. All right, so it all starts with onions. I have some yellow onions here. I really like using yellow onions over like a red onion or a sweet onion because they have less water than a sweet onion, but they're a little bit less tangy than a red onion. And I used a mandolin to just thinly slice my onions. This is what a mandolin looks like. It just makes very, very thin slices. You can also use just a regular knife, but because we're making little crispy fried onions, I don't like them to be super, super thick. So I have all my onions here and I have buttermilk. This is the second ingredient for our onion strings. And I like using buttermilk because it gives the onions a nice little extra tang and gives them flavor as opposed to just using regular milk. So I'm going to just mix around my onions in the buttermilk, and I'm gonna let them sit in the buttermilk for about 20 minutes so they really absorb the flavor, and then we'll coat them with flour. So our onions have been soaking away. It's been about 20 minutes, and now I'm going to take big handfuls of onion here, and I'm just gonna kind of like shake off any excess moisture here, any excess buttermilk, and I'm gonna put them right on the plate. Okay, so I have my onions, and now I'm going to take some flour. You can also use gluten-free flour if you want, but this is just all-purpose flour, and I'm going to add the flour right to my onions, give them a nice toss in the flour. You can also do this in a bowl. In fact, it may be easier. And you just want to coat them in flour. This is a sign of hard work. This is what you want. You want kind of this stickiness on your fingers when you're tossing them. That's when you have the right ratio of flour versus buttermilk. So I'm going to bring these right over to the stove and we're gonna fry these babies. Let's go. So it's time to fry our onions. I'm so excited because that means that I get to eat onions soon. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So I have here some vegetable oil. You can use canola oil. You just want to make sure that it's a flavorless oil that has a high smoking point. That's very important when you're frying things. So all I'm doing here is I'm just heating my oil over about like medium-high heat or so. And I have this fun little thermometer here, and you want to keep checking until it reaches 325 to 350, somewhere in that range. Okay, our oil has reached about 335 or so, which is perfect. I'm gonna maintain that temperature over medium-high heat or so. And it's important that you have about half an inch to 3/4 of an inch of oil in your pan, just to make sure that there's enough room to fry your onions. And you want to make sure that your oil stays at around 325 to 350, just so your onions don't burn or they just don't cook because the oil isn't hot enough. So I have my plate of onions here all ready to go, and I'm just gonna take a pretty small handful. You don't wanna go crazy, and you can try to separate them as best as possible here. And you just wanna throw them in the hot oil, and you wanna let these go for about 3 to 6 minutes, turning them every minute or two, just to make sure that they brown really evenly, and then take them out when they're nice and golden brown. You want to use a slotted spoon to flip your onions. Look at this monster. Isn't it perfect? I just want to let it drain a little bit, shake off the extra oil, and then I'm going to take a plate that I've lined with a paper towel. I'm going to pop this guy right on the plate to let it drain a little bit more and cool off. And then I'm just gonna sprinkle it generously with salt. I like to salt both sides. And again, you can pull apart the little onion rings if you want while they're frying or even after. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna keep frying all the batches until I have all of our onions done. Look at what I bring you. More like what I bring myself, because guess who gets to try? I've already tried them. I gotta be honest with you. How can you go wrong with something like this? It's impossible. They are so crunchy, sweet, salty, everything you want. Check it out on tastefullygrace.com. You won't regret it.